So what's on the work table today? Well, there's this old box that has in the corner Pathescope, or rather baby projector made in France. I've rather given that away, it's a Pathé machine. And here it is, I've taken it out. It's probably more than 30 years since I worked on a Pathescope, so we'll see what needs to be done there. Inside the box, which is falling apart as usual, a few rolls of film, a lamp that I've determined is a bit dodgy but might work, and a box for lamps which is actually empty. So there's the empty lamp box. There's also this, a rubber base mat to protect your furniture from the heat given out by the resistance at the bottom of the Pathescope projector. Don't want to set fire to your sideboard or your table while you're showing films somewhere between 1925 and the mid-30s. And this, which is a very scarce colour wheel attachment for the baby projector to put tints, variable tints on your film as you're projecting it. I spent many years looking for one of those when I was a collector of such things. So there we are, and accompanying this, a suitably dusty old tin, some of the dust, and there he is, with a damaged forehead and looking a bit spotty. Anyway, that's the least of our worries. Biscuit tin. Portrait of Van Dyke. There you go. Full of films, and they're little extracts from documentaries and cartoons and things, except for a bunch which don't have titles on, and they're personal home movies of my neighbour's family from the 1930s or 1930ish. And I've been asked to perhaps check out what's on them, see if they're worth professionally transferring. So that's the plan. As you can see, the cover glass to the take-up chamber, which is there, has been broken at some point, fixed with sellotape. We'll get rid of that, put some new tape on there. I've taken the little knob off the top so that we can see inside. And the very pleasing thing is that the shutter on the right there, which is made of a very poor metal, it's cast and usually falls to pieces, and it seems to be complete, and in fact burns sweetly. Now, I have made reproduction shutters in the past just to make the thing work, but the point is this is also a flywheel, so quite difficult to make a replica that's useful or as good as the original, so it's nice to have that. And the whole thing, the whole mechanism, which is based on the Lumiere cinematograph of the 1890s, patents were brought up by Pathé, still moving sweetly. That clunking noise that you can hear is part of the mechanism, not an error or mistake or a problem. I'll explain that a bit later on. On the front here we can see that lens tube attachment here for the colour wheel, no doubt. Check that out. It's often thought that the lenses are missing when you find one of these machines because there's nothing there, and that's because it's in here, as you can see, that little lens there. so it's well hidden inside the top. So if you're going to buy one of these on a junk market, just say to the dealer, if he's not a specialist, shame the lens is missing, and you can always knock him down a few pounds if you have no ethical concerns about doing that. And the films come in these little 10 metre or 30 foot cassettes. This one is Performing Dogs, which was #1 in the Pathescope catalogue. As we can see, the film goes on the top there, the cassette, and then the film goes through the film gate. It's open at the moment, that's the closed position, the bulb is in there in the little lamp house. And then the film goes through into the take-up chamber and automatically gets taken up. That's the theory. Sometimes it works. And I've, as you can see, I've screwed on the crank handle, and the little crank handle here is for rewinding the film after it's been shown to get it back into the cassette. Paint is in very good condition for a 1920s machine. And this medallion thing on the back will shine up nicely at some point so that we can read it. Fitted into the base of the machine is an electrical resistance to take the 110 volt mains down to the low voltage for the lamp. No motor fitted to this machine. If you were 240 volt or 220 volt mains, then you needed an extra resistance. This is the bulb that came with this machine. It's inside it, and the glass is actually twisting relative to the brass base, which is not good, but I'm still actually getting continuity on there with my meter, so it's possible it will work. And what I intend to do is put a dab of araldite between the glass and the metal just to hold it steady, and we'll see. We won't be using the original electrics at all. I've got this battery which I use for one of my model aircraft, and I've made up a lead so that we don't have to interfere with the original wiring of the projector. Just wrap those terminal wires around the terminals, and we should be good to go. Now this little battery is only, as you can see at the bottom there, 7.4 volts. Actually, you know, when it's been charged up it gives something like 8 volts, and the lamp is 12 volts, and that's deliberate so that we're very considerably underrating the lamp, so it won't be very bright. It'll give a tiny picture, but we'll, with luck, avoid blowing the 80-year-old bulb. So I've taken the resistor wires off their terminals, off the lamp terminals. The film in these cassettes is 9.5mm wide, and it's generally known as 9.5 or 9.5 film for that reason. And you'll see that the perforations, one set of perforations, that's all there is, in between each picture in the centre, not at the edges with most film formats. And this is a notch, and the purpose of that I will explain. You don't have to worry if you've got some of these films. Don't worry, as my neighbour did, that they might be flammable or combustible. They're not. They're made on safety film stock, always, this format. Just briefly what this is and what it does. You'll see in the side of the film gate there there's a little lever, and when the film is running through, that's normally pressed that way. When a notch comes into the film, that little lever goes into the notch, which actually stops the claw or pin frame from engaging with the perforations in the film. So the film stops while you're projecting either a static scene or a film title. And then 7 or 8 turns of the handle, starts again, and the film goes through until the next notch appears, and it stops. So one of these little cassettes, which you might think would only last for a minute or so, actually can last very much longer if the film has notched static scenes and titles. So that's the purpose of that, and it's all still working, which is just as well, because quite honestly I wouldn't have fancied having to adjust the notching mechanism. So there we are.